Hello everyone, I'm coming to you from a place beyond the confines of space and time. If you saw my most recent Deep Discog dive on Ratboys, you would know that, spoiler alert, they're in it. I got to interview Ratboys. It's the first time in a Deep Discog dive that I got to interview the band or artist that the Deep Discog dive is about. Super cool. I used select clips from our interview in that DDD, but this video is basically our entire talk. I've still edited it a little bit just for the sake of clarity and to throw in some song examples, but yeah, this is basically it. And I got to include some topics and questions that I didn't include in the DDD. I will say this interview is best enjoyed with some prior knowledge of who Ratboys are. If you're completely new to the band, might I recommend a particular Deep Discog dive on them that basically goes into their entire career up to this point and all of their albums, just as a thought. That seems like a good starting place if you ask me. I had a lot of fun talking with Ratboys, and I think you'll have a lot of fun watching our conversation. This first question was for Julia. I know that you cite Sheryl Crow and Jeff Tweedy as songwriting inspirations, but as a Beatles lover, I want to ask you about Paul McCartney.
Oh my
Can you give me your Mount Rushmore of songs written by Paul?
Oh my gosh. It's so funny that you asked that right now because I'm reading his book, The Lyrics, right now. Literally last night I was reading it. And where he goes through all of his songs, or not all of them. God, he has so many, just like some of his songs, and, you know, tells the stories behind them. But gosh. Okay, so Mount Rushmore, I guess that means top 4. My top 4 Paul McCartney songs would be, I really love the song Here, There, and Everywhere, which is just a perfect, very concise love song, which he also says is his favorite. Fun fact. Yes. Just found out, I don't know if I'd put this song on my Mount Rushmore, but maybe today I will because it's so funny, the story behind it. That song, Gotta Get You Into My Life. Have you heard that song?
Yes. Yeah, that's also on Revolver, right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I guess I love that album. I guess that song's about weed, which is kind of funny.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a love song to marijuana, so that's kind of cool. He's just out here writing about whatever the hell he wants. I respect that.
Paul loves weed.
Paul loves weed. Yeah, he makes that pretty clear in the book. It's pretty sweet. Yeah. So okay, Mount Rushmore, Here, There, and Everywhere. Gotta Get You Into My Life. Let's go with it. And I mentioned this once before for a Stereo Gum thing, but I love the song Goodbye, which he actually wrote for a woman named Mary Hopkin, who was the first Apple Records artist. He produced her debut record. It's a beautiful song. And he didn't even keep it for himself. He gave it to someone else. So I love that one. And I don't know if it's just because I'm stuck in this section of the alphabet in that book right now, but let's go with Hey Jude. Perfect song.
Classic. Classic.
And one of the songs where you don't even realize how long it is. You just love every second. 7 minutes long. So I love that.
Doesn't
one.
feel like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Great question. Thank you.
Songs that lingered on my lips excite me now.
I'll extend that question as well to the rest of you guys. Whether it's in terms of songwriting or just the parts that you play on the songs, are there any inspirations that you look to?
So many, man. I don't know. I'm a big Dave Grohl head. I just learned how to play drums. I play drums, so I learned how to play drums kind of following the first Foo Fighters record and that Queens of the Stone Age record he plays on, and Nirvana, of course. So I feel like I'm always asking myself, what would Dave Grohl do drum-wise?
Nice. Life-wise, too.
Yeah, he's kind of like that dude, right? You know.
He's Posy guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would love to meet Dave Grohl one day. Dave, if you're watching this, let's link up, dude.
Dave, what do you think?
I listen to so many oldies. You have the oldies station in the car. Me TV, shout out.
Shout out Me TV.
I don't know.
My mom is going to love that you just shouted that out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she watches Me TV all the time.
Yeah.
Well, here in Chicago, Me TV has a radio station too, and it is
Wait, really?
shockingly good.
FM.
Yes.
Okay.
It is our like addiction. Like the Ratboys crack cocaine is Me TV FM.
Which is the tagline.
Oh, there's so many.
Well, maybe not the tagline, but just the idea behind them.
The idea is that they play songs by your favorite oldies artists, but not just their most popular songs. Like they play the real Eagles or
Some artists play the Beatles and it's
Actually-
like, hey Jude. And then some artists really play the Beatles and it's like honey pie, honey pie. But yeah.
Anyway, what
There-
else?
There's a lot of deep cuts, but I mean, I don't know, just so much like soul music and Motown. So a lot of that for like the rhythm and feeling of a song I look to. And then in my younger days, I think I would have said just noise rock and noise freakouts, and I don't know. I love a guitar going crazy, so Sonic Youth, Mars Volta-esque is where I come from.
Great artists,
Great songs
great memories.
on 87.7 Me TV FM.
You guys, I know that the band started with Julia and Dave, you guys at Notre Dame, and nowadays you're considered part of the Chicago music scene. As someone who's never been to Chicago and never had its food, can you explain the appeal of Giardiniera on pizza?
Oh, baby.
Oh, yes. I think we all can. That's a beautiful thing about living here. You become.
Where are you from, Nick?
I'm from central New York, like the Albany area, but I'm based in the Boston area now.
Okay, right on. So, do they have Giardiniera on the East Coast out there? They do, right? Or
Oh, it's the
guess
the
not.
cherry peppers,
Mm.
pepperoncini, right?
the pepperoncinis?
Yeah.
It's not the same.
It's not,
Like,
yeah, it's like, if it's here, it's not really like a mainstream delicacy.
Oh boy.
So, for anyone out there on the tube who isn't familiar with Giardiniera, it's a condiment, like a loose vegetable condiment.
It's a pickle, kind of.
Yes.
Well, everything's pickled. Yeah.
Pickled vegetable
And
condiment that exists in oil. And it's traditionally served on an Italian beef sandwich, like in The Bear, that TV show.
Nice.
But there's what?
No, it's just funny.
I just watched it. I don't know, like 2 weeks ago.
Italian beef.
It's a good show. It's a really good show.
I will say a lot
It's
of
a good
people,
reference for
a lot of
Italian beef
people,
now, yeah.
a lot of people didn't know what Italian beef was
Totally.
until like a year ago. But anyway, okay, you can take all that out. But yeah, so Giardiniera is it's a great local condiment here, traditionally on Italian beef sandwiches. But like you mentioned, the life hack of all time is you can also put it on a pizza pie. And what that does is it adds a level of spiciness and acidity and even extra grease in a good way that makes a pizza, a regular old cheese pizza, something more and something really good.
We're a big fan of the Giardiniera pizza, like after band practice.
Yes.
That's a Ratboys.
Nice.
Or before, which is sometimes a choice.
Then we play all the songs real slow.
And we burp a lot. It's great.
That's the premier Ratboys experience.
Yep. Burpee band practice post Giardiniera pizza. That's real shit.
I just got some from the grocery yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, you get
The
Marcotti's?
Homemade chard. No, from Cermak.
Ooh. House brand.
How like
Dang.
right on top of the deli counter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
baby.
It's like
Dang.
a little flavor explosion. Love 'em.
Would
You
you
gotta
say
come
that it's
here.
one of those things? I was going to say, like, is it one of those things where if I were to do it here in Massachusetts, it wouldn't be the same? Like, I have to get it in Chicago?
Well,
We'll mail you
We'll
some.
send you a jar.
Okay.
DM us your address. We'll mail you some good Giardiniera. You can put it on your pizza.
Yeah.
yes. Also,
That's the
if you're
kindest
feeling
thing anyone has ever given me.
You're sitting at work. Wheelbarrow full of Giardiniera. Oh, yeah.
I want to talk a bit about the first record, AOID. And I read that you guys recorded it in this like warehouse practice space. Julia, you even had to record vocals at like 3 a.m. to keep like leakage out, and because there were a bunch of dads playing and all the noise. Now that you guys have done records in studios like Hall of Justice, Chris Wallace studio for the Window, do you look back on the process of recording in that warehouse space fondly, or would you take a professional studio any day of the week?
Oh man. I mean, I think I could speak for all of us because all of us have spent a lot of time in that room. We have super fond memories of that space.
It still exists.
It's still there, yeah. A
around,
bunch of
yeah.
our friends still practice there. And yeah, I mean, I think so many of my fond memories are just based around the people that we know and knew at the time who were playing there. And our friend Seth, who made that record, is just the most fun guy to spend time with. And we're still, close with him. And so, yeah, really good memories. I mean, and there's something to be said for like the limitations of a studio space like that.
Just
Yeah.
gotta work until the computer crashes, and then take a break, and then hopefully everything works again.
Yeah, you kind of don't have a lot of control over certain things, and so for me it made things feel really kind of lighthearted and loose. And I mean, obviously everything was super loose because I had no idea what we were doing, and yeah, we were just like recording on weekends. And actually, when I think back to that album, we just recorded like the drums and bass maybe all in one go. Like we just played all 10 of those songs. Or I guess one of the songs on the record I recorded by myself, but 9 of those songs, we just played them all in a row, like no stops. And that's like the album. So it was just very like instinctual and, just playing the tunes and getting them in the computer. So we had a great time.
At the same time, I was like, oh, this is the most professional thing we've done so far.
Yeah, totally.
Look at how many mics there are. I think to me the most important thing is just like, just being able to like take a walk around or like have a good food or coffee spot nearby, clear your head, and like, I don't know, we tend to be very easily comfortable wherever we're recording, which is, I guess we've gotten lucky in that way.
Nobody around me spoke a word. The entire afternoon, nothing was said. Yet I could enter into tourist sets. With great effort, I let them know the towers up there.
I know that you described the band once as post-country, as a sort of vague in-joke about those kinds of post-labels. But with that said, like in 2024, when, for various reasons, when genre lines are blurrier than ever, and I mean, even Beyonce's making her own country record now, do you think genre labels still have a place in music?
Yeah, but they're kind of dumb now.
Oh, see, I had the opposite feeling. I feel like yes, but I just think they're fun and maybe meaningless, but also like more fun than ever.
I think they're just like different colors of crayons that you could reach for, and really everybody has access to all the colors now, and it's up to you how to like use them. You can mix them together. You could like try to invent a new color if you're feeling really crazy, And I think that's happening all the time now. Like I listen to younger bands coming up, and yeah, it's hard to pin down even what it sounds like, but it sounds like everything at the same time, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, or like records where different songs, like across the tracks list, sound different, like representative of different genres and influences and stuff. I will say about the post-country thing, for a while, in any interview I did, people would be like, "What are you talking about?" And I would be like,
Well, that's the thing. Labels get confusing, but what Marcus said was, I mean, that's a great way to put it. I think a lot more artists are leaning towards that too, where it's like, I could do a country record, I could do a hip hop record, everything. Like, yeah.
And if like feeling like you're a part of a community or a certain sound or style like makes people more confident to express themselves, and that's awesome. But yeah, I was just gonna say we were in line to get into a place for dinner the other night, and these guys behind us were having a very casual conversation and just dropped the word post-country as if it was completely normal. And I was like, all right, it's happening. 2024, we are out here. No, I'm just happy that it's people like post-country music, whatever the heck that means. It's good stuff.
I've said this before, but you like predicted the future. Like if you think about post-rock and like it came from Chicago, and like it was just kind of like an expression, like a new expression of like a sound that was familiar. That's like happening a lot with country right now. Like people are taking country and adding like this like modern kind of newness to it.
Yeah.
Modern newness. That's so dumb. But you know what I'm saying.
What's the next one gonna be? Post pop.
Post pop. Post.
Oh, man.
Post crunk is coming.
Post-
We've officially
Lil
had Lil
Jon's
Jon at
making
the
his
Super Bowl.
comeback.
Yes. Wow.
Post crunk.
You heard it here first, people.
Timestamp it.
I want to zoom in on the EP GL from 2018, and more
Yeah.
specifically the 8-bit version that came out later that year, because I saw that and first off I loved it, and then I couldn't find any info on it. So I'd love to know more about it, and if you wrote the songs on GL knowing that they'd get some kind of 8-bit rendition made.
Yeah, this is all Dave. You got to tell
that
us.
was by a mysterious artist named Dave the Rave. I first, one of my very first forays into like putting out music was like a chiptune project, an 8-bit project, and it was all like tracked on a Game Boy. And so I've always, I guess I've had that skill set, or it's like I like making electronic music sometimes too, and I think it was like it was a good little exercise, and it seemed like the right time to be like, hey, what if we just do the 8-bit EP? Also, love Beck, listened to him a lot, like through high school, and he put out the Guero 8-bit EP, so I'm like, yeah, let's remix ourselves, let's do it.
I'm glad that you remember it that way, because I have a memory of kind of encouraging you to, because you had made one of the 8-bit covers of the song GL. I think that was the first one. You were using a Sony PSP. The program is
PSP
called
and the Game Boy.
LS
LSDJ.
And once you did the first one, I think all of us were like, whoa, this is amazing, Dave. You need to do the other 3 on the EP and make it a whole thing. And it was pretty arduous. You were working on it.
The thing about making music on a Game Boy or like an old school tracker is you have to input each note one by one. So it's like D-pad, input, 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 input. And that's just a bass line, like do, 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 do.
You made it, I believe we were on an East Coast tour, and it took the entire tour for you to get those other 3 going. But
Well,
you
let's be real, I was procrastinating.
Well, no, but
not
sure,
to.
but like you were working very hard on it in the front seat. I have vivid memories of just like looking over from the back seat into the front seat, and you were just like head down, like just doing like what you just said, like like programming the same note over and over and over again. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, you did a great job with it.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
It was fun.
My old MySpace page is not around anymore.
I'm sure you guys have heard this already, but the window, it bangs in the whip, it rips, it shreds, it rocks. It's super great record. But specifically, you're welcome. But specifically, it's got a really good sense of flow to like the sequencing of the tracks. Can you speak on, I guess, the art of album sequencing and what you aim to achieve with how the window was ordered?
Yeah.
How do you do it, Jules?
That is such a nice compliment, because that is something that I really geek out. I think all of us really geek out when we listen to albums. There's something that magical that happens when a band just knocks it out of the park with like kind of what you're anticipating versus what you get, and kind of the whole aspect of tension and release, which we really had fun playing with this latest record. But I mean, I personally have a few kind of specific ideas about like what makes a great opening track, or like why it's really cool to have kind of a strange, like unexpected sound for the third track. But it also just depends on what songs you have ready to go. Like there's something really intangible. Maybe you guys have the answers about like sometimes when we write a song, you just know right away that this is like needs to be the last song on an album, or like this has some real like this has like opening track energy, and I haven't been able to like analyze things enough to know what that is or what that distills down to, but
Yeah, I think you had the album pretty much sequenced before we were recording it too.
yeah.
Which I mean, it's not a concept record, but you're still, when you're recording an album, you're listening to the whole record. You want a flow of emotions, like Julia's talking about. So there is a lot of intentionality with that, where you want to place stuff.
Yeah, I guess sometimes right away, like you're like opening track energy, or sometimes it takes a while and you like, we rehearse it and it just kind of reveals itself to you. It's like, oh, this is kind of like a moody tune in this way, and yeah. But I think the songs are really important in that regard, where the songs kind of give you some hints as to where they should go. And because our favorite records are no skips records, every song is good. So everybody's shooting for that.
What do you think, Marcus? Any?
Yeah, I think you mentioned tension and release. I think that's like a huge part of it. And it's like really trusting yourself and trusting the songs to, like kind of lead into where you feel they should. And yeah, like Sean mentioned, like this album was pretty much sequenced like going in. So I feel like we all kind of had a sense, like at least when we arrived in Seattle, like, yeah, this is pretty much like the record. We kind of know how it flows already. So that also made it fun to record because we kind of knew how songs were going to be leading into each other.
Yeah. I remember the one change we made was that tracks 7 and 8 were switched. Empty and Break were originally switched. And for me, that came about from like the original track sequence idea for that was sometimes it's fun to have songs that are in the same key back to back. Like the first 2 songs on the album are in the same key, and then The Window and Break are in the same key. And so sometimes that just feels really nice. You can kind of like stay in the same world for a minute. But we found that putting Empty after The Window created this real sort of like urgency that wasn't really there with Break. And Chris made a really interesting observation in the studio when we made that switch. He was really excited that we made that switch because he said even though Empty is more upbeat, it's actually technically slower than Break. Like the speed of the tempo is slower than Break. And so even though after Empty you're kind of coming down into a different, maybe more low-key mood, the energy is actually kind of sustaining or even increasing with the speed of the song that comes after it. So there's all these little like tricks that go into it where you can kind of, just like give your brain and your heart what it wants without even kind of knowing. And so I love that. It's like alchemy. I love track sequencing, and that's like honestly one of my favorite parts of songwriting. So I'm excited, to keep cracking that code moving forward.
Nick, I think you might gather that we're a band that records albums and doesn't really like release singles. Like we really think about the track listing as much as we think about how a song is written. It's one big piece that we're releasing out into the world.
Right. Which is wild because you also make really good singles. So
Thanks.
In your quest to make great albums, you've made great singles. Yeah.
Playlisting is a dark art too.
That's true.
We're all
Yeah.
big playlist heads.
True. Very true.
We're often like, we've got like a band playlist that we all update, like we all contribute to. And like whenever we let it get to 40 songs, and then one of us will sequence it and post it. So it's always fun. We always kind of trade off, and we all have our own style of sequencing. I think everybody has their own language of sequencing a playlist, and that just kind of like keeps us sharp about, paying attention about what sounds good into the next song. Is it in the same key? Is it same tempo, different tempo. So, yeah, I encourage everybody to just make mixtapes all the time.
You guys have been in this game for a decade now. You've got 5 records under your belt. Across the discography, is there anything that you'd want someone who listens to one of your records to walk away with? Whether it's, Windows or AOID, is it an emotion, a perspective, anything like that? A good live show, anything like that?
That's a great question. Yeah, it's tough to kind of gather all the songs together and figure out what like the big overarching takeaway would be. But to me, I hope it sounds like, 4 friends in a room making music together and sharing stories and kind of just pushing the boundaries of genre, like you said, and just making music that sounds nice and it feels good to play. That's kind of all that's all we're concerned with, really. We never really have like big stylistic goals, or we definitely haven't written a concept record yet, but it's all just about having as much fun as we can and trying to make something worth listening to.
Just want to put some fuel into the gas tanks of our hearts.
Oh, Dave.
Yeah, baby.
That's what it's all about.
That's
You
poetic.
could put that on a bumper sticker, Nick, and sell it. Yeah. That's all we aim to do. Truly.
I definitely feel like I have like a lot of albums that I turn to that are like comfort albums and just ones that have been with me for years and years, and if our music is ever that to somebody, I feel like mission complete, like that's just awesome.
That does it on my end. I guess, is there anything you want to tell the audience or anything you've got coming up that you'd like to, share, promote?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be on the road a ton this spring and summer. I'm not sure exactly when this video will air, but yeah, I'm sure at some point we'll be playing in a city near you. So if you want to come out and hear the songs live, we will be out and about.
Ratboysband.com, baby.
Ratboysband.com. It's all there. It's all there. And yeah, it's such an honor to be on the show. Thanks for letting us be the guinea pigs of this new format for you. I can't wait to see how it comes together.
That's so kind of you. I'm really excited too. And this has just been great. Yeah, thank you guys for taking time to do this. It means the world to me.